As a homeschooling mom of 4 young kiddos, books, and especially in this stage, picture books, are a very big part of our daily life and our homeschooling experience. So I thought it would be kind of fun to share with you guys some of our favorite picture books. And I have a little bit of a mix of books that our family has already loved, and also some books that I really loved as a kid. And I either have the exact same copy from when I was a kid, or I've just gotten new copies and I'm planning to share them with my kids soon. All right, so let's take a look at some books together. All right, the first one that we have is Corduroy. I really loved Corduroy growing up, and this copy in particular has the first Corduroy story, and then it also has the second one called A Pocket for Corduroy, and that's a really cute story too. So you can either just get the first one or the second one, or you can find a copy where they have them together. But Corduroy is just such a cute, classic story with really sweet illustrations. Corduroy is a sweet little teddy bear. In the first one, he is in the store and he wants to get taken home by somebody. He loses his button. He goes around trying to find a new button. In the second one, he's living with his girl Lisa, and then they go to the laundromat, and he wants to have a pocket, and he has all these adventures at the laundromat. It's super cute. We love Corduroy. He is just such a sweet little guy that is fun to read with your kiddos. All right, this is another one that my family read growing up when I was little, and now my kids really love too, and this is called Me Too. It is one of those little critter series books, but this one is really sweet, and especially if you have multiple kiddos or if there's a brother-sister dynamic. In this story, the brother is lamenting how everything he does, his little sister follows along saying, "Me too, me too." So it's just really cute illustrations, the little sister wanting to do what the big brother's doing. But then at the end, the brother gets to learn how it's beneficial for when the sister has something that he also wants, and she lets him also. So that's a really super cute one about sharing and just the dynamics between siblings. So that one is Me Too by Mercer Mayer. Next, I have this book called Emma's Pet. This one is from 1985, and this is another one that was a big favorite of mine when I was a little girl, and my kids think it's really cute too. So in this book, Emma is telling her mom how she really wants to have her own pet, and she specifically wants a pet that is big and soft and cuddly. So throughout the whole story, she is seeing all of these animals, but they're not quite right. They're not big enough or cuddly enough or soft enough. She just can't seem to find the right one. And it's really sweet because at the end of the story, she discovers that her daddy is the big, soft, cuddly somebody that she was looking for the whole time. It is just so cute, and I really loved the illustrations in this one when I was a kid. All right, this next one, I would venture to say there's probably some varying opinions on this one. I could see maybe where some parents would say they wouldn't want to read this one because of some of the attitudes in it, perhaps, but I really liked it as a kid. It did not negatively affect me, and my kids think it's kind of fun. It is The Grouchy Ladybug. So in this one, of course, there's a grouchy ladybug that's having a bad attitude. If you're familiar with it, it shows the ladybugs eating the aphids. That's how I learned what aphids were from this book, and I still know that today as an adult. But the grouchy ladybug is kind of just looking to pick a fight with anybody. So you turn the pages and you see this grouchy ladybug just wanting to pick a fight. But then when the grouchy ladybug says, "Do you want to fight?" and then the next critter says that they will, then the ladybug says, "Oh, you're not big enough for me." So some parents maybe wouldn't like the aspect of them saying like, "Oh, you want to fight," but I think it's a good teachable moment, and we haven't had any negative issues from that. The kids really love that the pages start out little and they get bigger, and there's the time. There's a little clock on the top of each one saying what time the ladybug is encountering these different critters, and then the words get bigger and bigger on each page until you get to bigger and bigger. And then this grouchy ladybug has to learn the hard way that picking a fight with other creatures that are much bigger than itself is not a good idea, and learns to be a little bit more grateful in the end. So despite the grouchy attitude in the beginning and the part about wanting to pick a fight or whatever, I think it has a good story. It has fun illustrations, fun pages, different just dynamics to it that make it a fun interactive book. I think the Grouchy Ladybug is a good one. So this next book is definitely a classic. A lot of homeschool families probably already know it, and that is Blueberries for Sal. This one is really cool because when I started homeschooling and I was learning a lot of different things about read alouds, and I kept seeing this one pop up, and this was one that I was already familiar with because I grew up reading it. And this is one of those ones where this is the exact copy that my family had growing up. There's actually even a little note right here in the front that my mom wrote that says, "Bought on our vacation in Bar Harbor, July 1988. So it's actually kind of cool. My mom bought this book before me and my older brother were even born. So she already had this book and we got to enjoy it growing up. So this one is really great. It has just really sweet, the illustrations, they're simple color-wise, but they're very beautiful. So Sal is a little girl that is going blueberry picking with her mom. They're picking blueberries to preserve. I think they kind of show that in the beginning, for the winter. So they're going blueberry picking together. They have a little pail. So it's showing them, but at the same time that Sal and her mother are looking for blueberries, there's also a mother bear and a baby bear eating blueberries to store up for the winter themselves. So then as the story goes on, Sal and the baby bear get mixed up with the wrong mothers. So then you kind of see what happens with that, as you can imagine. So this one's just super cute. It's fun for the kids when they say, "Oh no, the mom and the baby bear are mixed up." Yeah, so this one is just a super sweet book, definitely a classic and one for every homeschool family to have. All right, so this next one is a treasury book, meaning it has multiples of books from the same author in it. They're not really a series, but they kind of are similar and go along together. And this is a series of Virginia Lee Burton books, and we have especially really loved the Little House book. So in this treasury, there is Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel, The Little House, Katie and the Big Snow, and Maybelle the Cable Car. So we've read all of them. The kids just very much especially love The Little House. We've read that one over and over, but these books are really fun. The Little House book the kids have really loved. Let me see if I can find a good picture. So it shows there's this little house that's in the country, and it sees time pass, and it sees this progression of it's not such a country area anymore, and it talks about how there's the big city, and the little house just sees more and more of this progression of development around it until the little house is no longer in the country, it's in the city, and she wishes she was in the country. So yeah, that's a really fun one. The Little House, these just have such beautiful, fun pictures. Katie and the Big Snow is another one that was really popular with the kids. We live in an area where there's lots of snow, so they could definitely identify with that one. They really liked watching the plow go through all of the snow. So yeah, this is a really good one. The stories are a little bit longer, so we probably, my two oldest especially liked to sit and listen to this one. My now 4-year-old, he's just now kind of getting to that age where he would sit for a longer story like this, but I would definitely recommend getting the Treasury or these 4 by this author in particular. Okay, the next few that I have kind of all go together again. I suppose it's probably a series. It's about the same characters, and These are, again, ones that I read when I was a kid or that my mom read to me, and I loved them so much. They're favorite, so I still have all of them here, and they are the Frances books. So this one is a bargain for Frances. This was definitely a huge favorite of mine. It made me want to get my own little tea set. Then we also have Bedtime for Frances. This one, I don't know if it's quite as clear of a memory to me. I'm sure if I read it, I would probably remember it, but I don't remember it quite as much as some of the other ones. Also Best Friends for Frances. Bread and Jam for Frances. I remember this one very well. That was probably another one of my favorites. And then this one's also really fun, A Baby Sister for Frances. So these ones are just fun. The language that is used in them is it's a little bit different than the language that is used in a lot of the newer books. So it's fun to expose the kids to different kinds of literature that have ways of speaking that they are not used to hearing. So the Frances books are definitely a recommend of mine. All right, this next one is a newer one. Actually, it says it was written in 2022, so it's very new. And this one kind of goes along the lines of health-related things. And surprisingly, my kids have really, really loved this book, and they often ask to read it, or I even catch them like playing it out. It's kind of funny. So it is called The Army Inside You, A Children's Guide to the Microbiome. This is available on Amazon, I believe. So it's kind of funny because it's a book about the different gut bacteria and how to have a healthy gut and the food choices that you make. Talks a little bit about the biology, about what microbes are. But there's this one page where it shows the good bacteria versus the bad bacteria. So sometimes my kids will pretend like some of them are the good gut bacteria and some of them are the bad, and the bad ones are saying, oh, I want more sugar. It's just really funny to watch them play that out. Or there's a lot of times that they will even ask me, because there's pages that talk about, which foods you eat feed the good gut bacteria and which foods you eat feed the bad gut bacteria. So there's a lot of times we'll be eating things or they'll be talking about food and they say, does that one feed the good guys or the bad guys? One thing that I really appreciate about this book too is that there's a mix of illustration and real life photos. So that keeps it very visually interesting, and then the characters have really cute and funny little faces. So this one has definitely been a big hit for our family, and I know some of our friends really love this one too. And it's a great way just to get the kids thinking about the things that we're eating. It kind of helps back up us as parents and reinforce the things that we've been telling them about food choices and sugar and treats. So this is a really good one. All right, this next one has been a more recent hit in our family because we just got this book, and we got it because I remembered this book that I had when I was a kid, and I texted my mom and I said, hey, wait, what was that one book called with the mouse that you slip through the pages? And she reminded me what it was, and then she actually snagged a copy of it for our family, and the kids have loved it. So this book is called There's a Mouse About the House. And then what's kind of fun with it is there are slots in the pages. I don't know if you can see that or not. I guess the slot's right here. So you get like a little paper mouse with it, and the mouse, see if I can do it with my hand backward, slips through the page and then comes out the other side. And as you read it, you have the mouse kind of follow the little trail, go through the next slot to the next page. Hold on. And I remember my parents got this book. There's this one, and there's also one with a squirrel. They got these for us when I was probably about 5 or 6, and we were having a plane ride somewhere. So this is what I had to entertain myself on the plane. And I loved this book. It was so fun to go along with the little mouse, go through the pages. There's little parts that you have to lift the thing up and it comes out. I really loved it, and apparently I loved it so much that it popped into my memory again recently, and our kiddos have thought that this was just so fun. So this is just a nice one. Like, it's not it's not a super in-depth story. It's kind of a silly story, but it's just a nice interactive one. It has a fun shape to it. If you lose the mouse, there's like a little pattern for you to be able to make a new mouse. So this one's super fun. The author says it's Richard Fowler. So yeah, there's a mouse about the house. I recommend it. All right, another really popular one in our house lately has been this really cute book called Log Hotel. This one's really cute. It's a great one for discussing nature, whether you're doing it for homeschool or just for fun, and it's not necessarily school related, but it's just a really cute way to show the decomposition process of trees. So it has the tree, and then it shows that it's a log, and then it just goes through this whole life cycle of the log decomposing and all the different kinds of critters that make their home in this log as the years go on, and how the log changes. You can see here that as the log breaks down, it has these different kind of critters coming in. It says this log is a plant and an animal hotel. So yeah, and then it just shows how eventually it puts another seed into the ground and starts to make another tree. So we really love this one, and our kids have asked to read it over and over. They've just really loved it for some reason. So yeah, this is just a super cute one and a great way to have some good nature discussion. Okay, the next two books are from a series together that was written, I believe, in like the late 80s. And I'd really like to say that I believe that the 1980s and 90s, like especially late 80s, early 90s, was a very anointed time of, there's just a special anointing on kids ministry and kids Christian materials that were put out. And some of these books in this series especially are ones that I really enjoyed as a kid. They definitely had an impact on me and my life and relationship with the Lord, and now it's just really special to share it with my kids and see how it's blessing them as well. So the first one, first of all, the series is called Building Christian Character. And the first one is called Sir Maggie the Mighty, a book about obedience. I loved Sir Maggie the Mighty when I was a little girl, and this one's really fun. It's cute. It follows the story of this little girl named Maggie. She and her family are some kind of bug creatures. So Maggie is an adventurous little girl. She likes to use her imagination. Her mom wants to send her to the store, and she's going to try to be responsible and go do that on her own. She wants to play this imaginary game. Her mom gives her instructions on things to do or not do. But Maggie gets the idea to disobey and try to hide these things from her mom, and you can see the different things that happens to her along the way. We see how she learns a lesson in obedience, and the mom in the end gives her some grace and gives her a chance to try again and obey the next time. It is just a very sweet story about obedience. It's a rhyming story, so that keeps it fun for the kids. There's, the fact that they're bugs and there's other little characters in it kind of has that fun imaginative part of it. But yeah, my kids have really liked Sir Maggie the Mighty, and I loved it too. So along with that one, next is Susie Swoof, and this one is a book about kindness. This was probably one of my all-time favorite books growing up. And as a matter of fact, this again is the original copy that I had from when I was a kid. And if you find a certain page, you can even see the spot in this book where I dropped a piece of gum out of my mouth onto the page. The gum spot is still in the book, and that makes it extra special. So, it's well loved. But anyway, Susie Swoof follows the story of these characters called swoofs that live in these houses Susie Swoof is a swoof with wings, but she cannot fly. She is made fun of by the other children. They are not nice to her. She feels very alone and left out a lot. But then we see, as the story progresses, that there is an opportunity that these other kids are in trouble, and Susie is the one that is able to help save them and shows them a lot of kindness. It shows a little opportunity and moment of repentance and forgiveness, and how friendship can still come from that. So this is a really sweet story. My kids really love this one too. That is Susie Swoof from the Building Christian Character series. Well, that was really fun. I could probably talk about books all day long, especially kids' books. So if you are interested in hearing about any more of the books that our family loves, whether they're the picture books or board books, or even getting into some chapter books, we're not quite there with some of my kids yet. They're still in the emerging stage of reading, but we're going to be getting there soon, so I'm excited about that. But I want to hear below if you've heard of any of these books, which ones are your favorites, or if there's some new ones that you thought might be interesting and you are gonna maybe check them out. Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much, and I will see you another time.